room. Can the Big 12 use that $100 million? It's actually about $80 million, according to what Mac Rhodes and others have said and reports. $20 million going to Fox on the exit fee to buy Notre Dame's exit fee from the AC. No, Notre Dame's not joining the Pac-12. $80 million wouldn't do it. I don't know what number would do it if there was a number. They're in a great spot. As Paul mentioned yesterday, there's no need for Notre Dame to do anything differently than what they're doing. They're attached to a conference. They're independent at the same time. They can do whatever they want. And until college football forces them in another way other than how it is now, for them to be able to have to join a conference or whatever there are needed metric, there's no need for them to do anything in football.
All right, let me compare it to also how powerful Notre Dame is, and that their athletic director, Jack Swarbrick, he has the same amount of power in charge of one school that the other 4 Power 5 commissioners have in charge of a lot of schools. The same thing. That would be like 5 people, like 5 world leaders meeting, and it's the President of the United States, Germany, Japan, England, and Israel. We're not Israel, like those 4, and then a guy who is the governor of Missouri. Like he's just in charge of Missouri, yet somehow has this much power that everybody else does. And so there's no reason to change for them. There's no, yes, there could be more money in the Big Ten, but that also comes with taking away their place at the table of having to make decisions that affect everybody else, and they're just one school. So the other Power 5 conferences all have to, their weight is as much as one school, which that's not really a dollar figure you can put an amount on, especially when, their TV deal, you know who it goes to? Them. Yeah. It doesn't have to go anywhere else. They negotiate it right here. Boom, boom. Every football TV deal that they have is with them. So everything.
There's no revenue sharing. And then on top of that, they get money from being attached to the ACC.
Yeah. And so you don't have to worry about, for football, they don't have to worry about a year where it was a little down this year, or this happened and we've got to split the conference this way, or there's this. No, it's just to them. So if their TV deal with NBC is $30 million a year, that's less than everybody else, but they get the 30 straight to them. There's nobody else in the mix. And you can't, that's just power you can't buy.
How about the fact that they were, basically given an advantage in the 14 playoff? How do you think it'll be in a 12-team playoff?
Well, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
they'll be really good.
If they had the advantage in 4, what do you think? Yeah, then they'll be just fine.
I haven't seen a single reason explained as to why it makes sense for them to jump. When we were talking about it back during the USC UCLA days, at least that made some sense because Kevin Warren was threatening to basically, burn down houses and letting it be as vague as possible so that everybody just had to cower in fear of what the next move might be and whether it was just going to disintegrate their backyard and their neighborhood. And nothing ever ended up happening again because he got the LA schools, and now we know the rest of it. He's not even there, or he's closed down his final days. I don't know what the exact exit date was, but he's leaving. And with that, it seems like the idea of them expanding and pursuing Oregon, Washington, like was the big hot rumor again when all this started, that has quieted down and calmed down and doesn't appear to be happening in any way, shape, or form. If you're Notre Dame, what rush are you in? Because the big argument a year ago was, well, if they don't do something, they're going to get left out. But what are they going to get left out of? The playoffs growing bigger. If the SEC and the Big Ten are the 2 big dogs, which they are, Notre Dame's still going to be Notre Dame. They're not going to be any less just because they're not in one of those 2. They'll still be, respected more than any of the other remaining conferences. And, they're on their own with their own rules and their own money and their own schedule and their own everything with no pressure really in any way, shape, or form now. The whole storyline was Kevin Warren's going to make Notre Dame join the comp. Remember that? Kevin Warren's going to force their hand. Kevin Warren's going to if they don't do it now, they're going to be left out in the cold if Kevin Warren gets his way. And Kevin Warren this and that. And, nothing ever ended up happening or coming close to happening to our knowledge. with that. So if they weren't feeling the pressure to do it then, why would they be feeling it now? Why would they feel it now? It's way less pressure at this point because you know that everything's kind of settled, or at least it appears so. And, the Pac-12 may go add a couple of schools, but that doesn't mean anything to Notre Dame. That means absolutely nothing to them. So, yeah, I just don't think it makes any sense for them at the moment. I don't think it, makes really all that much sense for too much more monumentally to happen, quite frankly, in this go-around, even though I know the speculation is always going to be for the bigger move, the better. But I think we're kind of entering a period where you're looking at probably the Pac-12 adding a couple of schools, and they'll celebrate over that. And then beyond that, I don't really know what would be next outside of the Big 12 and whatever they may be speculating on doing. But
not until the timelines of the next TV deals,
like the
run
2030
out.
is
5 to 7 years.
Here in 5 to 7 years, I think is when you could see that whole redo of everything, or not redo, but that whole remix again. And then some speculate that in 15, 20 years is maybe when you see it to where it is the NFL truly with, like 24 teams. And sorry, Vanderbilt, sorry, Purdue, or, whoever you want to, point there. I don't know that I'm ready to go that far just yet, but I wouldn't put it past anybody that Alabama's like, no, we're not going to share our profits with Vanderbilt any longer. So those are the stages that I kind of see coming up, that 2030-ish when everybody's TV deals come up again. And then after that, maybe another narrowing down. But in terms of like this big sweeping motion for the one to overtake the other, I don't see that right now. It just doesn't add up to me.
If you ever see a report or even a quote or a comment, speculation about anybody saying that we probably don't need to all be sharing equal revenue inside the SEC, that's when it'll be interesting because they have always said no. They've always protected even the ones that need the chicklings. They've always protected all of the family. And that's what's going to be interesting when Texas enters along with Oklahoma in the SEC, because they've been a part of a conference at times where it's been quite the opposite. All right, so Roger